What's up everyone? I finally started playing Metal 5 Phantom Pain, and this is going to be my very early impressions of the game. I've only played for the first 2 or 3 hours. I'm going to try to keep this experience, this playthrough when I do in Metal 5, as much of my opinion as possible despite all the stuff I've heard about. I'm going to try to give it a fair analysis, give it a fair shot at how I feel about the game, and then we'll go from there. But anyway, to the point of this video. The first hour I was spent in the hospital, I'll try to keep minimum spoilers because for people who haven't played the game, but it's only the first hour or two, so if I do tend to spoil something, it's not too big of a deal. But anyway, to the point of the video. The first hour I was spent in the hospital, and it's honestly it surprised me. It was a very it was very horror. It felt kind of like a horror game, kind of. And I don't mean that by a bad thing. They did it really well. At times I felt like I was playing a Forza PT again. Okay, obviously not to that level of, well, scariness, but it was well done, to say the least. Basically, you're playing as Big Boss, and you're following Ismail through this hospital, and a bunch of screwed up shit happens. You're basically being stalked and followed through the hospital by these two entities. One is what I'm assuming is a kid who can float in a gas mask, who I can only assume is a younger Psycho Mantis. They haven't said anything more yet, but that's just my guess. And a guy on fire called the Burning Man. The way that these guys follow you, most times you interact with them in cutscenes, so you never actually have to do much with them in terms of gameplay. But it was very well done. It felt very like you were being stalked by this monster, kind of like Nemesis or Resident Evil 3, except in cutscene form. And it was very well done. And there was other instances like soldiers checking hospital beds for you, and you're just hiding behind this curtain, and they're there with the check, and there's not tense moments. You basically have this group of soldiers looking for you and will start shooting everyone on sight, and between that and these weird entities following you, and just the atmosphere in general, it was so well done. I was not expecting it. It was a pleasant surprise. I was not expecting Metal Solid 5 to have a horror element, but honestly, they did it so well. And eventually, after the hour was up, we finally managed to start the game proper. And the gameplay is the second thing I was found very surprising. I've heard it was great, and I knew it was going to be great, but it's not when you actually start playing it. When I played it, it was a normal mission, nothing special, but it's just a couple of things that happened that I couldn't believe they happened. It felt like it was scripted, but it was really cool. I'll give you a brief rundown. Basically, you had to save Miller from this enemy base. It's like the first mission out of the hospital. On your way there, I encountered this enemy base. So basically, I went into it. I snuck in. I marked everyone first with my binoculars. I snuck in. And basically, I was sneaking through this alleyway. And a soldier came over nowhere and turned the corner. And I was like, shit. So I literally dived to the ground, just lying on the floor behind this box. And the enemy just walked right past me. First of all, I was impressed with the fact this is not the first game to do it, but most time when if an enemy walks past the box, he's automatically going to see you for some reason. But this was realistic because the enemy didn't actually look to the side. He just kept walking on like there was nothing going on, and I was like, awesome. It's just a small thing, but it was fun. And then a couple like a minute later, I got to this area and I snuck into this room, opened the door. But you see, usually in games when a door opens, that doesn't count as a sound that enemies will hear. Now in this game, I went in a bit too fast and the door really slammed. The enemy heard it. He went to investigate. So I said, let's try this. I know where else to hide, so I hid behind the wall. And when the door opened, I was behind the door. And again, I didn't think it was going to work because usually enemies for some reason will automatically find you. But the enemy just looked around for a couple of seconds. I apologise for the fly here, but let's move on. Anyway, the enemy checked for a couple of seconds and then he left. And I was like, really? Seriously? It was cool. It was just another cool stealth moment. And it was quick thinking. And I was like, oh boy. So then I basically had to get some intel and I was out. But then another enemy was walking up. And there was this tiny bit of wall with like 1 or 2 sandbags spread across the top in a row. So I literally just hid on the side behind him. And the enemy was right next to me. But he just missed me and he walked on. And I was like, whew, this is so tense. This is the very first mission. And mind you, this is not like scripted. You can do it any way you want. This is just the way it turned out for me. The timing the enemies. But then I finally got to the main base. And this was really interesting because basically I snuck my way through. And I found this like term, this engine. And I was like, what does this do? I pressed it. the entire base, the lights went off, which is a good thing, but all the enemies were alert, and I wasn't expecting for that. So I basically kind of tried to sneak my way up through the thing, keep going, go getting caught, and eventually I was in this building where Miller is, but I couldn't find him. I was like, okay, am I in the right building? Yeah. And then this was cool, because basically, when I got Miller, I got him, and I picked him up. And what happens? An enemy comes in behind me, and you just see here the alert, but the reflex mode, which is kind of a slow mode that gives you time to hit the enemy before he alerts the other people. It came on, so I just turned around with Miller on my shoulder and shot the enemy in the head with my tranquilizer. And it was just another cool moment. And then a couple minutes later, eventually I got Miller out of the base, and I was walking with him, and then I heard an engine, and you see a car lights coming in our direction. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And there was a bridge, so I literally ran down like this mini cliff place and hid under the bridge as the car passed. I was like, this has got to be scripted, because there's no way. Just everything felt like a movie scene, like you would see in a movie. And then finally, we got Miller to the extraction point, but it didn't work because there were these weird soldiers called the Skulls, and they kind of walk in a very creepy way. But then suddenly, when they get activated, they come like super soldiers, and the atmosphere again got very creepy because it was misty with these bright white eyes coming towards you, and it was really well done. And basically, I got to the extraction point in the end, and I cleared the mission. Thank God. I was kind of happy to get away with the creepy part, because I don't know why, it wasn't really that scary, it just kind of hit a nerve for some reason. Maybe it's got like 3 in the morning, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Then I got the mother base to get. It's pretty much the same as always. Same as Peace Walker, except now it's more interactive. You can walk around the place. It's cool. The story so far, not much has happened, but I do like it. I wish Big Boss talked a bit more, but at the same time, I do like the way the cutscenes are presented, where it's like, it's so then tell. They're kind of trying to show a story more than they just give you explicit dialogue. And so far, it's really well done. And the cassette tapes are really well done. They're like where the meat of the dialogue is going to be, I think. And so far, the voice acting is really well done in the cassette tapes and the game itself. So far, in my early impressions, really good. It's probably one of the best first 2-3 hours I ever played in the game in terms of how impressed I am by it. The open-endedness of the gameplay, the graphics look great, the voice acting is amazing. The horror vibe was nice. I hope they kind of keep that going in certain parts of the game. And the gameplay is just a star though. My god, the gameplay is good. I just like how anything could happen and it feels natural. It doesn't feel like it's scripted or anything, and I really like that. And one side note, the two things, I had this guy hostage, and he said, tell me where the enemy locations are, or tell me information. But instead I couldn't understand him, so now I gotta find a person who speaks his language and forward it on him to the base so he can translate what they're saying. That's a small detail, but it's such a cool feature. You don't really see many games go that in depth with detail. But other than that, that's all I wanted to say, and I'm really looking forward to playing the rest of the game. So if you like this video, subscribe, comment, like, whatever you want, and I'll see you next time.